Spider-Man is my favorite comic book character of all time. He's a character that I've been a fan of as long as I can remember, and he's one of the most relatable Marvel characters, in my opinion. And this is the first big movie based on Spider-Man.
Spider-Man!
'In 2002, Spider-Man was released, directed by Sam Raimi, with Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker / Spider-Man. In this movie, Peter Parker is just your ordinary teenager. He gets bullied, has a crush on a girl, got the best freaking aunt and uncle ever, never eats breakfast and doesn't have many friends. Just like me then.
I'm already on my ass.
He's literally powerless until he gets bitten by a radioactive spider and becomes Spider-Man, and has to protect his city against the villain Green Goblin. What? What? You thought I was going to review Man? That's what you came to see me review? Man, directed by Sam Raimi? I think the action in this movie is so great and well executed. The choreography is some Matrix shit, and it's so much fun watching Spider-Man and Green Goblin every time they're in some sort of fight. I mean, look at this dude, this flip was totally unnecessary, but he did it anyway, the fucking mad lad. Though I think this movie goes slightly deeper than that.
What?
It's not just about dudes in suits slapping each other silly. I mean, there's tons of that too, and that's great, but I believe it's about opposing ideals and taking responsibility for your actions. The stark contrast between Spider-Man and Green Goblin showcases this really well. Just hear me out.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
In the beginning, all Peter Parker wants is to impress on Mary Jane Watson, the girl he supposedly liked before he even liked girls. Once a radioactive spider bites him and he gets his powers, he lies to the people who practically raised him, telling them he's going to the library when he really wants to beat a sweaty man for cash. Uncle Ben insists on driving him there, and before he drops him off, he tells him the iconic line.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Good old Spider-Man dismisses these words and goes on to make money off his powers to afford a car, so he can impress on Marianne. Because cars equal girls in the comic book world. Anyway, he tries to make money off his powers. And one moment of missing the part where that's his problem is all it takes for Uncle Ben to get killed, and now Peter is almost twice the orphan. To some of you this might sound stupid, but I actually tear up every time I watch the movie. It's such an impactful scene and always traps me in the moment. It's not often a movie make me tear up, but this one, holy shit, it hits me right into the feels every time. Peter going on his epic quest for revenge is the one scene I kept acting out as a kid in the playground over and over. It's that epic, but getting revenge doesn't heal his wounds. Actually, far from it. In his depression, he goes to a sewing class. A few sewing classes later, he's a real man. A real Spider-Man. By the end of this night, he has transformed into a totally different person.
Change? Yeah. Big change.
He goes from this nerdy nobody to a kick-ass superhero. On the other side of the spectrum is Green Goblin, aka Norman Osborn, played by Norman Reed,
Hello, my dear.
Willem Dafoe, who after a human trial on himself becomes Green Goblin. All actions Norman does is for his own gain. I mean, no shit. He's the movie's villain, and he's there to mess our hero up.
You know how much I sacrificed?
My point is, they're like heads and tails, they're like yin and yang, they're like Batman and Joker, at least in this movie. Dialogue can be a bit cheesy, and I recognize it can at times be outdated, but that still doesn't devalue the jokes. I mean, this is funny as hell.
What are you doing up there?
Staying away from you. That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
Every single line of this movie I feel like could be in a Spidey comic book or a cartoon, but sometimes they are delivered a bit awkward, especially from Kirsten Dunst, who plays Mary Jane Watson. Dunst's acting is not bad per se, but it's not super convincing either.
Yeah. There's so much to tell. I gotta go.
Bye.
Oh my god, it's gorgeous!
Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker / Spider-Man is good for the most part. Some parts of his delivery can come off as cringe-worthy, but maybe that just adds to his character as he's supposed to be a little kid.
It's you who's out, Gobby. Out of your mind.
He asked me what I thought about you.
And what did you say?
I said, Spider-Man. I said, the great thing about MJ is when you look in her eyes.
Totally a little kid, right?
No, not exactly.
On that subject, everyone looks way too old to be teenagers. Their teacher looks like he could be in the same class. This actually confused me as a kid, because I didn't understand he was supposed to be a teacher. Willem Dafoe is the perfect actor for a villain. He says some brilliantly cheesy things in this movie, but it's impossible to hate. He pulls off Norman Osborn / Green Goblin, and then some.
Imagine if he joined us.
Wrong answer!
Oh, great.
His son, Harry Osborn, portrayed by James Franco, pulls off a good performance, especially when Dafoe is in the same scene. Their strained relationship is fantastically acted by both actors.
What, you want me to trade in my car for a Jetta just because you flunked out of every private school I ever sent you to?
It wasn't for me.
Of course it was.
As at the very beginning you can already tell they are father and son, not really on the best of terms, and this is a recurring thing in the movie, even on Peter's end. You might even say this is one of the movie's central themes, growing up.
Stop lecturing me, please.
I don't mean to lecture and I don't mean to preach. With great power comes great responsibility.
Crap. Mega crap.
And finally the legend himself, J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. I think this might be the best portrayal of J. Jonah Jameson of all time. Honestly, it's just that good. He just nails Jameson. He is the character.
Spider-Man, hero or menace? Exclusive Daily Bugle photos.
Menace. He was protecting that armored
Tell
car.
you what, Atticus, you take the pictures, I'll make up the headlines, okay? All right? That okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Goody.
Other noteworthy actors include Cliff Robertson as the lovable Uncle Ben and Rosemary Harris as the caring Aunt May. I just adore the interactions between the late Cliff Robertson's Uncle Ben and Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker.
Hey, Michelangelo, don't forget we're painting the kitchen right after school. Got it?
Sure thing, Uncle Ben. Don't start without me.
And don't start up with me. Teenagers. Raging hormones, they never change.
You really get the sense that they are basically father and son, even if they don't share that many scenes. Makes me wish they kept Uncle Ben around a bit longer. The costumes in this movie are simple but effective, especially for Spider-Man. There's no need to have 4 costumes for our friendly neighbor spider friend in the same movie, we just need 1 or 2. The 2 in this movie are one homemade suit he makes to gain money at a wrestling fight, when he calls himself the Human Spider.
The human spider, that's it? That's the best you got?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
And another one he dons when he becomes Spider-Man.
Impressive!
Technically he got a 3rd and a 4th suit, but they look identical. The costume he gets later might be a bit unrealistic for him to put together. It looks way too fancy for a kid with no money to make a costume that took hundreds of dollars to make in real life for the movie. Is it really unrealistic?
No. Of course not.
Maybe, but it's still one of my favorite Spidey suits of all time. Green Goblin suit sadly doesn't use even half the range of Dafoe's acting. It's more like an arm than anything like in the comics, but they went for this look for technical reasons and limitations at the time, if I understood this correctly. I like it however, it somehow gives off that samurai vibe I can't explain, but it's somewhere in that range. Controversial or not, this is Green Goblin to me.
No one says no to me!
The CGI in this movie has aged like milk that already was sour. Spider-Man when he's crawling on the walls in his human spider costume, it looks straight out of an early PlayStation 2 game. And that's not even an over-exaggeration. The higher resolution you go, the more noticeable it is, at least from my viewing experiences. That took me out of the movie so hard, even after watching it more times than there are people on a little place I like to call Earth. So my final opinion on Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2002? It's an underrated classic in my eyes. Sam Raimi didn't just create another superhero movie. He made a movie with tons of heart that knows how to let itself and the audience to have a blast from start to end. He also made the template for upcoming superhero movies. But if you ask me, a lot of superhero movies take themselves way too serious. They're too realistic and depressing, and it's just something about the tone in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man that's fun and reminds me a lot of the animated series from the 90s. Don't get me wrong, I do love movies like Logan or Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I think that's a natural progression of this genre, but nothing beats some good old cheese. Yeah, haven't I mentioned? Sam Raimi's Spider-Man do be getting a bit too cheesy at times. But that's exactly why I think what makes the movie so great. It doesn't take itself ultra serious and knows how to balance comic books with real life, and got one of the most recognizable superhero soundtracks to boot. I hope you enjoyed my review of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man from the year 2002, and I hope my ramblings about a fun, spectacular classic were entertaining. Up next is Spider-Man 2, released in 2004. One of the best superhero movies, if not the best. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you dislike it. If you want to see more like this, subscribe. I'm out.
With great power